The camera fades in. Your voice drops to a near whisper, intense and deliberate. Right now, in this very moment, I need you to understand something. What I'm about to show you isn't just another wrestling segment. This isn't your typical backstage brawl or your run-of-the-mill attack. No. What happened to Bronson Reed last night on WWE programming has sent shockwaves through the entire wrestling world, and when I tell you that General Manager Nick Aldis stood in that ring with tears in his eyes announcing something that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming, you're going to feel every single emotion that flooded through that arena. Because what we witnessed wasn't just an attack. It was an execution. It was a message written in blood and brutality, and the man who did it? The man who left the nearly 300-pound monster Bronson Reed completely motionless, possibly lifeless? We still don't know. And that terrifies me. Pause. Let the weight settle. Before we dive into the most shocking moment in recent WWE history, I need something from you. I need you to be part of this journey with me, because SLAMZONE isn't just a channel, it's a family. It's a community of people who live and breathe this industry just like I do. If you've ever felt your heart race during a near fall, if you've ever jumped off your couch when your favorite superstar hit their finisher, if you've ever argued with your friends about who's the real top dog in wrestling, then you belong here. So do me a favor, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button right now. Tap that notification bell, because every single week, we're bringing you the most intense, the most emotional, the most real breakdowns of everything happening in the squared circle. And trust me, after what you're about to see, you're going to want to be here for what comes next. This story is just beginning. Your tone shifts, becoming more narrative, pulling viewers into the scene. Let me set the stage for you. Monday Night Raw. The energy in that arena was electric from the opening bell. Fans were on their feet, signs waving, voices hoarse from chanting. You could feel it in the air, that special kind of electricity that only happens when something big is brewing. The show had been building momentum all night. High-stakes matches, intense promos, championships on the line. But nobody, and I cannot stress this enough, nobody was prepared for what was about to unfold in the final segment of the evening. The lights dim slightly. That familiar entrance music hits. General Manager Nick Aldis makes his way to the ring, and immediately, something feels off. His usual confident stride is replaced with heavy, deliberate steps. His face, normally composed and authoritative, looks drawn, almost pale. The crowd senses it too. The cheers die down, replaced by a confused murmur that ripples through thousands of people. This isn't the Nick Aldis we're used to seeing. This is a man carrying the weight of devastating news. He steps through the ropes, microphone in hand, and for a moment, he just stands there in the center of the ring. The silence is deafening. You can hear individual voices from the crowd asking what's wrong, calling out questions that hang in the air unanswered. Aldis raises the microphone to his lips, pauses, lowers it again. He's struggling. You can see it in his eyes, the way his jaw clenches, the way his free hand grips the top rope for support. And then he speaks. His voice cracks on the first word. Ladies and gentlemen. Another pause. The crowd goes completely silent now. Every person in that building knows something terrible has happened. I'm standing before you tonight with the heaviest heart I've ever had in my career. The words come out slowly, deliberately, each one weighted with genuine emotion. Earlier this evening, backstage, one of our superstars was found unconscious. Bronson Reed was discovered in the parking garage area, and the injuries he sustained, they're unlike anything I've ever seen in my 20-plus years in this business. The crowd gasps. A collective intake of breath from 15,000 people that sounds like a wave crashing. Signs drop. Hands cover mouths. The camera cuts to fans in the front row, and you can see genuine shock, genuine fear in their faces. Aldis continues, his voice barely holding together. Medical personnel responded immediately. Bronson is currently receiving emergency treatment, and He stops, takes a breath, composes himself with visible effort. I need you all to understand the severity of what happened here tonight. This wasn't a wrestling move that went wrong. This wasn't an accident in the ring. Someone did this. Deliberately. Viciously. And right now, Bronson Reed is fighting for his life. The arena erupts. Not in cheers, not in excitement, but in chaos. Confusion. Anger. Fear. Chants of who did this start building from different sections, growing louder, merging into a unified demand for answers. But Aldis shakes his head, and that gesture alone is chilling. He doesn't have answers. Or worse, he has answers he can't share yet. Now here's where this gets absolutely bone-chilling. The production truck cuts to footage. Grainy, security camera footage timestamped from approximately 90 minutes before Aldis's announcement. The image quality isn't great, standard parking garage surveillance, but what you can see is enough to make your blood run cold. There's Bronson Reed, all 290-something pounds of him, walking through the dimly lit parking structure. He's in street clothes, gym bag over his shoulder, clearly heading to his vehicle after what we assume was a match or appearance earlier in the night. He looks fine. Normal. Checking his phone, completely unaware of what's about to happen. The camera angle switches. Another view, further down the garage. You can see shadows moving in the background, but the lighting is too poor to make out details. Then suddenly, movement. Fast, aggressive movement. Someone, and the footage makes it impossible to tell who, comes from behind a concrete pillar. No, wait. Not someone. Multiple people. The attack is coordinated, precise, brutal. Reed drops his bag immediately, turns to defend himself. And credit to Bronson, he's a monster, he's a powerhouse, and even caught off guard, he fights back. You can see him throwing fists, see him grab one of the attackers and hurl them against a nearby car with enough force that the vehicle's alarm starts blaring. But there are too many. 3, 4. The footage quality makes it hard to count, but there are definitely multiple assailants, all dressed in dark clothing, faces obscured. What happens next is hard to watch. I'm warning you right now, this footage is disturbing. They swarm him. Bronson goes down to one knee, still swinging, still fighting, but he's being overwhelmed. One attacker has what looks like a steel pipe. Another seems to have a chain. They're not just trying to incapacitate him, they're trying to destroy him. The beating goes on for what feels like forever but is probably only 15 or 20 seconds. Then, and this is where my stomach turned watching this live, they stop. They don't run away immediately. They stand there, circling Reed's motionless body like predators admiring their kill. One of them leans down, and while the audio is too distant to hear clearly, it looks like they're saying something directly to Reed's face. Then they scatter. Different directions. Planned escape routes. Professional. Calculated. This wasn't some spontaneous backstage fight that got out of hand. This was a hit. An assassination attempt in a WWE parking garage. The footage cuts back to Aldis in the ring, and you can see he's barely holding it together. WWE has turned this footage over to local authorities, he says, his voice steadier now but still thick with emotion. We are cooperating fully with the police investigation. But make no mistake, whoever did this, whether you're a WWE superstar, whether you're someone from outside this company, whether you think you can hide behind masks and darkness, you will be found. And you will answer for what you've done. The crowd is on its feet now, a mixture of supportive cheers for Aldis's declaration and continued chants demanding justice for Bronson Reed. Signs that were made for other superstars are being turned around, fans writing messages of support with whatever they have available. The community, the WWE universe, they've rallied instantly around one of their own. But here's what's eating at me, what's probably eating at every single person watching this unfold. Bronson Reed isn't exactly the most beloved figure in WWE right now. In recent months, he's been absolutely ruthless. He's attacked legends, he's taken out fan favorites, he's shown zero mercy in his pursuit of dominance. His tsunami splash from the top rope has left multiple superstars injured, legitimately injured. So the question that's burning in everyone's mind is this: was this retaliation? Was this someone he wronged coming back for revenge? Or is this something bigger, something more sinister, something that goes beyond personal grudges? Think about Reed's recent path of destruction. Seth Rollins took him out. Multiple tsunami splashes left him writhing in agony in the middle of the ring. The crowd cheered when Reed did that, by the way. They wanted to see the architect suffer. But Reed didn't stop there. Week after week, he targeted people. Sometimes there was a storyline reason, sometimes it seemed random, chaotic, like Reed was just looking for anyone to destroy. He sent a message that nobody in WWE was safe from the colossal force of Bronson Reed. And now he's the one who's been destroyed. The tables have turned in the most violent, most shocking way possible. And whoever did this, they made sure their message was just as clear as any Reed ever sent. They made sure everyone watching knew that if they can take down Bronson Reed, if they can leave the monstrous, seemingly unstoppable Reed broken and bleeding in a parking garage, then they can take down anyone. Hey, listen. I know we're deep in the intensity right now, I know your heart is probably racing just like mine was when I watched this live, but I need you to do something for me. If you're invested in this story, if you need to know what happens next, if you want to be part of the conversation as this situation develops, hit that like button right now. Seriously. Subscribe to SLAMZONE. Join this family. Because this is exactly the kind of moment that reminds us why we love wrestling, why we can't look away, why we come back week after week. This is storytelling at its most raw, its most emotional, its most unpredictable. And I promise you, we're going to follow every single development together. Every update on Reed's condition, every clue about who attacked him, every twist in this story. You're going to want to be here for all of it. The speculation is already running wild across social media. Wrestling Twitter exploded within minutes of this segment airing. Names are being thrown around left and right. Some people think it's Seth Rollins getting his revenge. After all, Reed put him on the shelf, why wouldn't Seth want payback? But Seth doesn't work like that. Seth's a fighter, he'd want Reed face to face in the ring, not jumped in a parking garage. Others are pointing fingers at Drew McIntyre, who's had his own issues with Reed in recent months. Drew's got that edge, that Scottish warrior mentality, and he's shown he's willing to go to extreme lengths. But again, would Drew really orchestrate a group attack? That doesn't match his character. Then there are the darker theories. What if this is someone new? What if this is a faction we haven't seen yet, making their presence known by taking out the biggest, baddest monster on the roster? Think about it. If your goal is to send shockwaves through WWE, to establish dominance from day one, what better way than to absolutely annihilate Bronson Reed? You immediately become the most feared force in the company. Every superstar backstage is looking over their shoulder, wondering if they're next. Or, and this is the theory that's gaining the most traction, what if this is deeply personal? What if Reed's past, something we don't know about from his time in independent wrestling or even before WWE, has caught up with him? The way those attackers stood over him, the way one of them seemed to deliver a message, that felt personal. That felt like old business being settled in the most brutal way imaginable. Nick Aldis wrapped up the segment by announcing that Raw's remaining matches for that night were cancelled. Out of respect for Bronson Reed, out of concern for the safety of all superstars until the attackers were identified, the show was ending early. That decision alone tells you how serious this is. WWE doesn't cancel programming. They don't go off the air early. The fact that they made that call shows just how rattled everyone backstage must be, how real the threat feels. As fans filed out of the arena, the atmosphere was completely different from how it started. People came for entertainment, for larger-than-life superhero battles and athletic storytelling. They left in stunned silence, processing what they'd just witnessed, what they'd just become part of. Social media footage from outside the venue shows groups of fans just standing around in the parking lot, not wanting to leave, discussing theories, expressing genuine concern for Reed's well-being. And that's what makes wrestling special, isn't it? When it hits the perfect note where the line between character and reality blurs, where the emotions are so real that we forget we're watching a predetermined show and we just feel. We feel fear. We feel anger. We feel the desperate need for justice. We become invested in a way that transcends entertainment and becomes something more personal, something more meaningful. The latest reports, as of the time I'm recording this, indicate that Bronson Reed is in stable condition. Thank God. Initial fears of life-threatening injuries appear to have been, if not exaggerated, at least premature. He's conscious, he's communicating with medical staff, and while he's got some serious damage to work through, he's going to survive this. But stable condition doesn't mean okay. Sources close to the situation are saying Reed suffered broken ribs, a possible concussion, extensive bruising, and potential internal injuries that are still being evaluated. He's looking at weeks, possibly months of recovery. His immediate in-ring future is uncertain. More importantly, the emotional and psychological impact of an attack like this can't be measured in X-rays and medical reports. Being ambushed, being beaten while defenseless, being left broken in a parking garage, that changes a person. When Reed does return, and I believe he will return, he's not going to be the same Bronson Reed. Either he's going to come back more vicious than ever, fueled by rage and a thirst for revenge, or he's going to come back hesitant, looking over his shoulder, second-guessing every shadow in every parking lot. Both options create fascinating storytelling possibilities, but both also represent a real toll on the human being behind the character. WWE has increased security measures across all their events. Reports from SmackDown taping just days after this incident showed a visible increase in security personnel backstage, in parking areas, at every entrance and exit. Superstars are being escorted to their vehicles. Nobody's taking chances. The talent are genuinely shaken, and you can see it in recent interviews, in the way they interact on camera. There's an edge now, a wariness that wasn't there before. As for the investigation, WWE and local authorities are being tight-lipped about progress. Aldis has made brief statements promising updates as soon as there's confirmed information, but nothing concrete has been released about potential suspects. The footage has been analyzed frame by frame, but those masks, the poor lighting, the deliberate obfuscation of identifying features, it's all made identification incredibly difficult. Whoever planned this knew what they were doing. They knew where the cameras were, they knew how to avoid clear identification, they knew exactly when and where to strike for maximum impact and minimum risk of being caught. This brings us to what happens next. Raw is continuing. SmackDown is continuing. The WWE machine doesn't stop, even in the face of something this shocking. But there's a story building here, a mystery unfolding, and every single week we're getting closer to answers. Small clues are being dropped. Suspicious behavior from certain superstars. Cryptic promos that could be interpreted as connected to the attack. WWE is masterfully keeping this story alive, keeping the tension high, keeping us all guessing and debating and desperately wanting to know who did this and why. Before we wrap this up, I want to say something from the heart. SLAMZONE isn't just about breaking down matches and analyzing storylines. It's about being part of something bigger than ourselves. It's about sharing these moments, these emotions, these unforgettable experiences with people who get it, who feel it the same way we do. If this video made you feel something, if you're as invested in finding out what happens next as I am, then please, join this family. Hit that subscribe button. Smash that notification bell so you don't miss a single update on this developing situation. Drop a comment below with your theories about who attacked Bronson Reed. Let's talk about it. Let's figure this out together. Because wrestling is always better when we experience it as a community, when we share our reactions, our predictions, our passion for this incredible art form. The attack on Bronson Reed is more than just another angle. It's a reminder that in wrestling, just like in life, everything can change in an instant. Heroes can fall, monsters can be conquered, and the people we least expect can become the center of a story that captivates the entire world. Bronson Reed will recover. He will return. And when he does, you better believe there will be hell to pay. The question is, will we know who to blame by then? Or will this mystery continue to haunt WWE for weeks, maybe months to come? This is SLAMZONE, and this is where we break down the moments that matter, the stories that shake us, the wrestling that makes us remember why we fell in love with this business in the first place. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this journey. And I'll see you in the next breakdown, where hopefully, we'll have more answers about who tried to end Bronson Reed's career in that parking garage. Until then, keep supporting SLAMZONE, keep the conversation going, and never forget that in wrestling, expect the unexpected, because you never know when the next earth-shattering moment is about to happen. Stay passionate, stay loyal, and I'll catch you next time.